This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. We begin this newscast with some great news out of St. Thomas, especially for local tourism. A new direct flight here to the territory from the tri-state area is now available. On Thursday, JetBlue landed at the Sarah Lee King Airport in St. Thomas from Newark, New Jersey. The flight, as you can see, was met with the VI's finest. The welcome for these travelers included dancers, moco jumbies, and gift bags from the Department of Tourism. This inaugural direct flight from Newark is now just one of 4 direct flights from the Northeast coming to St. Thomas. Direct flights are beneficial, of course, to tourism as more passengers are now seeking direct flights when traveling.
Another nonstop flight in, which is important at any time, but even more important now as we are still within the pandemic. People prefer to fly as without stops, and this is clearly a nonstop from Newark helps us. Secondly, for us in the USVI, traditionally the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, has been a very important part of the United States in terms of our traffic to the territory for overnight guests. And by having an additional 180 flights coming in 4 days a week helps us in terms of us being able to have more people come into the territory. And of course, it's important for them to not just come, but to spend, because then it helps all of us here in the territory.
Certainly does. And speaking of travel, the pandemic put Independence Day celebrations and travel on hold in 2020. But this year, millions plan to head out for the holiday, but travelers could run into some roadblocks. Dina Dimitris explains.
Thomas Yelayi is packed and ready to spend July 4th with family and friends.
You can video chat all you want, but you're missing a lot of social contact that way. So that's the thing I look most forward to, reconnecting with loved ones.
AAA predicts 3.5 million people will fly during the holiday weekend, a 164% increase over last year. That will put added stress on TSA security lines that are already short on workers. Airlines are also dealing with staffing issues. Last week, American Airlines announced it would have to cancel up to 80 flights a day through mid-July.
The airlines, airports, and the TSA, I think, were all surprised by how quickly travel has rebounded.
Airports are expecting passenger numbers to reach levels not seen since the pandemic started, but the vast majority of Americans will reach their destinations by car. More than 43 million people are planning to hit the road, a July 4th holiday record, but drivers may get sticker shock at the pump.
Gas prices are at their most expensive since 2014, so the most expensive prices in 7 years.
Jeanette McGee from AAA says the national average for gas is up 90 cents a gallon compared to July 4th last year.
What a difference a year makes, right? We are seeing high travel volumes for the 4th of July holiday, but just high traffic volumes in general. People are getting back to the roads and traveling more.
McGee predicts gas is only going higher, possibly another 10 to 20 cents by the end of August.
That's not good news there. Well, AAA predicts the top Independence Day travel destinations are Orlando, Florida, and Anaheim, California, which both have Disney resorts. Denver, Colorado comes in at number 3. A sex offender is nabbed in St. Thomas this week for failing to register as a sex offender with law enforcement. Tuesday night, agents with the Attorney General's office arrested this man, 44-year-old Dylan Cayley. He was wanted for failing to comply with registration requirements for sex offenders here in the Virgin Islands. A native of Kentucky, Cayley is also wanted in Washington State for the same thing. He was convicted in Kentucky back in 2006 and sentenced to 10 years in prison for sexual abuse and rape. The VI Department of Justice issued a wanted flyer and news release last week with Cayley's mugshot, description, and several aliases. And somebody actually spotted him and called in, reporting that they saw him at a gas station. And that's where special agents showed up and arrested him. As of Thursday morning, Barbados, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines are under a tropical storm warning, and Floridians are also having to brace for tropical weather in the next few days. Tropical Depression 5 has strengthened into a tropical storm and has been named Elsa by the National Hurricane Center. Elsa is producing winds of 40 miles per hour at last check, moving at 25 miles per hour. The storm's expected to hit those islands Friday and produce up to 8 inches of rainfall there. From there, Elsa is forecast to move into the Caribbean Sea and toward Hispaniola on Saturday. Elsa could move over parts of Florida by early next week, but it's still too early to predict that path. Again, Barbados, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines are all under a tropical storm warning as of Thursday morning. Tropical storm Elsa could become the first Atlantic hurricane of 2021. Now on to coronavirus news. There has been a slight increase in the number of new COVID cases in the nation as the Delta variant continues to spread. During Thursday's White House COVID briefing, the CDC director says the 7-day average increased 10% from last week. She also predicted the Delta variant, which she described as being transmissible, will become the predominant strain in the U.S. in the coming weeks. The White House COVID-19 response group is going to be launching dedicated teams to hotspots across the nation.
It is clear that communities where people remain unvaccinated are communities that remain vulnerable. This is all true as we monitor the continued spread of the hypertransmissible Delta variant. The Delta variant is predicted to be the second most prevalent variant in the United States, and I expect that in the coming weeks it will eclipse the Alpha variant.
Shortness of breath, fatigue, and headaches. This post-COVID-19 syndrome is called long COVID. You've likely heard of those long haulers. And scientists in a southern German university town may have found a possible explanation. They were able to show that COVID-19 can significantly lead to long-lasting changes of the size and stiffness of our red and white blood cells. During the course of the disease, blood circulation is often impaired and oxygen transport is limited. Researchers think that may cause the blood cells to no longer be able to do their job properly because they can no longer get through to the lungs or other organs. So to determine this, the scientists examined more than 4 million blood cells from 17 patients acutely ill with COVID-19 from 14 people who had recovered and 24 healthy people as a comparison group. They discovered the red blood cells of patients with the disease deviated strongly from those of healthy people. This indicates damage to those red and white blood cells, according to the scientists, and could explain symptoms such as vascular occlusion and lung embolisms. An urgent reminder now for parents who want to get their child over the age of 12 vaccinated before the start of the school year. You need to act quickly as it takes some time to become fully vaccinated.
Summer is in full swing, but top U.S. health officials say parents need to be thinking about the school year now.
My message is really clear. You should get your kids vaccinated.
Right now, the 2-dose Pfizer vaccine is the only one authorized by the FDA for children as young as 12. That means it would take 5 weeks from the first dose to be fully vaccinated, which puts us into August when some schools across the country begin to welcome students back. For parents who may be wavering on whether to get their 12 and older child vaccinated,
The safety profile on these vaccines are really quite extraordinary, and they're much, much safer than getting COVID.
Since late May, the pace of vaccinations, especially those among 12 to 15, has drastically slowed, while the worrying Delta variant has now spread to almost every state and territory, now accounting for 1 in 4 coronavirus cases nationwide, according to the latest CDC estimates, fueling concerns about potential case spikes in the fall. The Pfizer vaccine has shown to be 88% effective against symptomatic infections caused by COVID-19.
We've got to really ramp up our vaccination, especially with Delta variant spreading much more widely across the country.
The FDA has added a warning to both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines of rare and treatable heart conditions associated with the vaccines in adolescents and young adults. CDC advisors say almost all of the cases resolved with little treatment and patients recovered quickly. The advisors say that the benefit of vaccination outweighs the risks of those heart issues.